We did. What's up, everyone? Welcome
Hello.
to the 163rd stream.
But not by us.
A little bit of news breaking. Yeah, not by us. Not even close to by us. But, we're here now. A lot happening the last week since we were here.
A little bit.
A little bit. You have a good day?
Yeah, no.
Good,
I didn't have a bad day. I just saw 4 patients over the course of 10 hours. So it was a very long, slow day.
Well,
But, I mean, all of them were great. So.
there you go. A lot of news to get to. We got our quarterback signed, which was an exciting event. Obviously, we'll get to that. We're going to talk.
Yeah, our podcast last week was a day early, right?
Yeah, it was a day early. By the way, called it 100%. We called it. Was there a more obvious signing than John Mateer coming to OU? I don't know if there was, but either way, regardless, it is a good deal for Oklahoma to get. It was a big signing for them as well, for us. But we are going to talk about that. We're going to talk the bowl game. Obviously, it's a game week for Oklahoma. It'll be our first game week in a while. We're last game week till next season starts, but first game week in a while. Oklahoma, obviously, I mean, we got more guys in the portal than Stargate SG1. I mean, it's just, we have almost 30, I think, around there. But I think we're now up to 80 scholarship players. There is a lot to go on. I want to talk a little bit of this Diego Pavia later, and then I know T's taking some notes on some portal players, correct?
Yeah, and Navy.
And Navy as well. So let's start there. Let's start with John Mateer signs. Let's go with the Navy game. We got Navy coming up.
Okay.
Armed Forces Bowl.
Right.
Love the troops. Love the military. It is, man, I guess if you were ever going to play them, it's nice to have this kind of break where you can prepare a little bit, because playing teams like Navy is always, or any sort of offense that is unique and also is built on discipline and, doing the right thing all the time. It can become difficult and a little bit worrisome, but having this much time to prepare, having this much time to kind of go through the adjustment period of a different kind of offense. How do you think that's going to go? What do you think about the game and all
So you
that?
mentioned them the discipline aspect of the team. And I was watching the Army-Navy game, the highlights of it again. And one of the very first plays that Navy ran, they ran a little pass route. And the guy's running, there's 3 guys just waiting to find the guy to block next. And I was like, well, that just showed a lot of knowing what to do. They have a really good, I say a really good quarterback, really good running quarterback. He's actually their leading rusher. I feel like saying his last name seems dirty. Horvath. It seems very wrong. Blake Horvath, number 11. He is their leading rusher. He has 1,300 about pass yards this year, but he has 1,100 rushing yards.
Yeah.
So dude's not afraid to run it. They do a lot of design runs for him, but I am excited about that because we're actually pretty good with rushing defense, or we have been this year. And, Jalen Milroe, obviously, we shut him down and he was a running quarterback. So I'm excited for that matchup for us anyways. But, yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same. Offensive defensive line will be interesting because obviously not as big of a team as we're used to playing. They average 285, 295 on the offensive and defensive lines. Navy does. So you'd expect us to be able to move the ball fairly well and expect our offense and defensive players or line, especially defensive linemen, to really get a good jump and get a good, I think, get some good action in terms of being able to cause havoc, maybe get some good stats. When you're dealing with this many young players, I know you have Deion Burks that's going to play, so that'll be big. Yeah, I think he's pretty. Yeah, he's going to play. Xavier Robinson's going to play. Zion Kearney, I think, is playing. I know he was injured after the LSU game, but I believe he's listed as a starter on the depth chart. So, you're going to have a lot of the guys. I mean, pretty much all the guys that even contributed from the regular season playing, and getting Deion Burks to play is going to be huge. I'm excited. Ben Arbuckle is working with the quarterbacks. He's not coaching any sort of offense right now. He's just working with quarterbacks specifically. But
Right.
What were you about to say?
Nothing. I was
sorry.
just listening.
And I'm excited for that, to see if you can see any sort of improvement over the last couple weeks that Hawkins has been with Arbuckle. If you listen to the a family business OU Insider or Sooner Scoop, sorry, interview they had with Arbuckle. He was raving about how talented Michael Hawkins was. And you talk with a guy like that much talent, being with a quarterback developer like Ben Arbuckle, it can't do anything but make you excited if you're an OU fan to see what he's going to be able to do. So, I am, that's just copious notes over here. I've got 2. So, it's
Mine
just
don't
wild,
make any sense, though, if you could see here. It's like a line, and then there's like lines above it, lines below it that go towards the line in the middle, but that's just how my brain tends to work.
Yeah. That's fair if it works. But yeah, so I'm excited to see that. We got to ask, what do we think expecting from Michael Hawkins? Yeah, I expect him to play pretty well. He's getting a whole month to be the guy. He's getting a whole month to kind of familiarize himself again, starting.
He running like he was running first and second team, so he was getting lots of reps.
Getting a lot of getting a lot of reps. Thompson's going to be the backup, and Oklahoma still I believe should win. The point spread has gone down pretty heavily. It's down about 3.5, I think.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, a reflection of people seeing how many players are in the portal for Oklahoma and seeing that we're not going to have a Billy Bowman, not going to have Danny Stutzman playing, and the kind of people just seeing how that will affect us on the defensive side. But I still think that Oklahoma can do really well. I expect them to play well, as well. In relation to this year, which might not be well in years past, but yeah.
Yeah, I think with me, which that was probably pretty loud. Sorry. Like with Danny and Billy being out, like I'm kind of excited for it because I'm excited to see like if the defense is still as organized as it has been, because obviously those were your vocal leaders. Those were your get here, this is what we're in, guys. So I'm curious to see who's going to step up. I'm assuming like a Kip Lewis would probably step up on the defensive end. But I guess I really don't know. I'm not in practice. So I'm curious just to see how they look from that aspect, because losing a leader is big. That's not something that's always easily replaced because some guys aren't used to taking on that role. But we still have a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball. So I'm excited for that, especially since they are a rush team. So that is still something we're good at. Our line, I think, our defensive line anyway, is going to be getting lots of pressure. So,
and I'm just so interested to see what they look like against Navy is kind of weird because they play like they did against Army and they look like world beaters, and then you see them play Tulane and get absolutely thrashed. And it's one of those where it's like, what Navy team are you going to get?
Well,
and
we can kind of say the same.
Yeah, I would say the same about Oklahoma. Very true, very true.
But that's also weird because they seem to use like their running backs a lot as wide receivers. Not like they tend to use them for the passing. I think their leading rusher is a running back. Sorry, I may have said that wrong. They use their running backs a lot as wide receivers. Did I say that the first time?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well they tend to use them that way as well. But I don't know. But it was kind of weird. Like I was watching it and I was trying to take things with a grain of salt, but also was like, well, I never want to take anybody. I don't even want to say lightly, but like that's not what I mean, because they were very disciplined and I was really impressed with how they played against Army, as you mentioned, but also as you mentioned against like Tulane, how they did. But it'll be interesting for sure. Yeah,
and we got to ask when the game is. The game's Friday at 11
a.m. Friday.
I will be working. Just heartbreaking.
I will be working.
You want to talk about a tough life?
Not be working.
I know there's people that are worried about real things maybe, but
are you about to say something dumb?
I mean never. I just talk about working when there's a bowl game and an OU bowl game in a year when I didn't think we'd make one. I mean, but it is what it is. I'll fight through it. Thank you. Thoughts and prayers early on.
Issues. That's what we talk about here. The real issues.
That's what we're going to do, and we're going to continue talking about them.
Chad problem.
Yeah, that sounds like a pejorative. But anyways, there is other news to get. Do you have anything else?
Oh yeah,
sorry.
One thing too that I was going to mention, that Navy had 3 interceptions against Army. So I'm a little curious to see how that would go, because Michael Hawkins hasn't thrown it in a game often or in months. Has it been months?
Yeah.
I mean, definitely weeks, but months. So that was something that I was like, that could potentially give us some problems if their defense is able to read passes and catch them. But
would be Very interesting.
But, we might not be. Well, with Dion back, we might be putting it through the air a little more. I didn't know Dion was back when I started to make this point, in my head for earlier.
Well, that's just
So
what
now
I've
I'm
heard.
like,
Everyone
well, that
that
would
I've
be
heard
great.
talk about it has said he's back. I mean, he might not
Make it the whole game.
make it. Yeah,
We
or
hope
there might be
so.
limited snaps or something
Right.
of that sort. But
Hey, when in doubt, Jacob Jordan. The
I'm telling
man,
you,
the myth, the legend.
Jaron Cannick called it. Travis Hunter stole Jacob Jordan's Heisman. He was robbed, and I can't disagree with him really.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. Well, I think the Navy game with so many guys missing, it's really hard to kind of just say this is what we expect because we don't know exactly who is going to get the lion's share of playing time really at every position
Right.
because of guys are gone, we don't know, is Tarquin healthy again, or if he is he going to want to play with the shoulder that he's dealing with? So I'm interested to see kind of where that lines up. But
Stacy said, "Remind me, did Navy turn over the ball against Army too? They had an interception. They threw an interception early, I believe.
yeah,
But I think they turned around and got it back. I don't know, but yeah, they had one early, but I didn't see any more after that. But their quarterback, he's shifty. He's not bad. He's strong. That was another thing I noticed. When he gets hit, he doesn't tend to go down easy. But again, the teams they're playing are a little bit smaller than our guys. Is that nice to put it? So maybe some stronger hits, get them down. I don't know.
yeah. I'm excited. I think we're going to do well. I think we have a real shot of winning, obviously. And if there was ever a year though, where it just seems like it's just extra pile on, it's whenever we're struggling like we are, and then we play a team that has going to have no opt outs, and it's just
Yeah.
it's just kind of like that's the only thing where it's like wow. But
That's as disciplined as they are.
brought this up to a Texas fan, by the way. We'll talk college football playoff reactions and my just and T's just annoyance at the whole setup. I was talking to a Texas fan today who is at the firm I work in, and I won't say who, but it was a funny little back and forth because he's talking about, man, I hope our center's okay, we can't lose him, and I hope we get our lineman back, the Williams kid, and I hope we get, if we can get, oh god, what's the guy that came from Alabama? Oh my gosh, just blanked on his name.
I'm terrible at names.
It's Bond, Isaiah Bond. We can get him healthy again. I'm like, yeah, just imagine, you lost 4 more receivers and 2 other starting offensive linemen for the year. How good do you think he'd be? Which he didn't, he thought was kind of a little mean quip, but, they kind of had a 1/3 thought of how we felt the whole season. Anyways, let's get to some good news, and we're going to get to these questions too about the portal and all of that because that kind of ties into one of our other segments we're going to do. John Mateer, a man who no doubtably is a better quarterback than I ever was. And that's just, that's a true statement, and I'm not ashamed to say it.
That is true. But you were good. I will compliment you. You were a good quarterback.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
he was invited. Walk on.
Yeah. Could have
Even
gray
to
shirted,
OU.
could have done that whole thing. Yep.
Yeah. So he wasn't bad. Slow as molasses, though.
Also, funny story, when I did that whole thing, I was, look.
He wasn't that slow.
Some people are made for the endurance. Now, I wasn't even made for that. So,
I don't know. They said the doctor said you had big lungs.
Yeah,
so you probably
big
could have
organs.
Been made.
So, that's
Chad.
that's what he said. It was on the doctor's note.
Go ahead.
I'm not, but
Step.
I don't know why. But, funny story, and then we'll get to the John Mateer thing, because Baker Mayfield called John Mateer after
pretty
or while he was committing. It's circa 2014, going into the 2015 year. We had just beaten Alabama. It was that spring semester. I was on the golf team then and was just out on a random night with a bunch of friends, a couple
In
from
Norman,
the track
he
team
didn't
in
say
Norman
that.
at Chimmy's. I believe it was called Chimmy's. Now it's just a totally different bar that I have no idea what it's called now. It is the guy sits. I'm sitting at a booth. The guy sits across the table from me. And now, if you know me, I have the gift of gab. I can talk to a wall and get to know its family by the end of the day. I'll talk to anybody. One of my joys in life is getting to know people. I live for that moment, right? Well, this guy sits across from me. I said, "Hey man, what's up?" He goes, "Hey, I'm Baker." I was like, "Oh, you're the transfer from Texas Tech. Nice to meet you." Don't say another word to him the whole night. And he's just sitting there. I could have been best friends with Baker Mayfield. And you talk about milking a relationship. He would be everywhere. We'd probably have him call in right now. Anyways, I just didn't even say anything else to him. Granted, did I know he was going to be the eventual Heisman Trophy winner? No.
No, but whoever you're with said, "This is Baker. He's going to be our starting quarterback next year."
Yeah.
Who were you with?
Obo Okoronkwo
Okay, yeah.
was another guy. We're talking to him one time, and one of the nicest, most genuine guys I've ever met, by the way. Awesome dude. It was after a practice, and he goes, I was asking how Trevor Knight was doing, and he goes, man, he's good. He goes, but I'm telling you, this guy, like this Baker dude, he's so accurate. Like, he's so good. He's competitive. He might be the guy.
No, I thought that night you were with someone on the team.
Oh, well, I don't want to really get the name, but
okay.
It is.
But they had said that about Baker, too, but
yeah,
I wasn't there.
It was fun, yeah.
We weren't together.
Eric Stryker was with us that time.
We weren't together then. I would have no idea.
Anyway, so didn't talk to him, but Baker obviously calls John Mateer. John Mateer comes. I think the impact of his signing is. Do you want to go first? What
do
you think?
What?
What do you think about the
what?
impact of his signing? Like, what do you think?
I think it gives us some direction, especially when you're looking at trying to get wide receivers, and tight ends, but mostly wide receivers. A lot of people are like, "Oh, that's you're cool. It's Oklahoma, but who's going to be throwing me the ball? Are you going to be utilizing wide receivers? We weren't super great about it this past year, which granted also some of that falls back on the offensive line, but that's neither here nor there. So I do think it catapults that. So you can start looking at more wide receivers and tight ends, clearly. But I kind of hope have we heard more about his offensive lineman that entered the portal?
Yeah, we aren't going to be able to afford him. He is wanting around, I believe, 1.2 million.
Are any rich people out there that have $1 million hanging around? You can offer this guy an extra $500,000, and you can send us a super chat for $500,000 if you want.
Yeah, send us our cut for the idea, which is 50%.
Which is 50%.
We're not greedy. We don't want all of it.
You know what? I'll take a crisp $20 bill. Let's do that.
And then give me the rest of the 50, and we'll split it.
So I think that is good. Now, I've already mentioned that I like the competition aspect for Hawkins and Mateer, but it was a good. I think honestly the fans needed it more than anything because my Atlanta.
Oh, we're back on it already today. Goodness gracious!
Some people, if OU football made me as miserable as some people just want to be upset about it, I don't think I wouldn't watch it. I don't know. Maybe put it down.
I'm just clicking through comments.
Well, you didn't need to click that one. But
Damon, I'm sorry.
Regardless, I try to be positive. Again, to critics, I'm a Sunshine Pumper. To Sunshine Pumpers, I'm a critic. I like to call myself a very average fan. I'm neither here. No, not with how much I love. I'm a fan, which is short for fanatic. But I'm saying though, I'm not a doomer, and I'm not a Sunshine Pumper. I can be very realistic. I feel like. Now, I could easily go either way. I can be swayed in either direction, but I try to stay pretty normal. So, it was a Mateer Christmas in Norman when we found out. It was a really cool video that he had with the All I Want for Christmas. Well done.
That was cool.
Well done.
That was cool.
Anyways, sorry. My brain's in a fog.
You're good. So the interview we had with Plank and Jeff Weber, who runs our One Oklahoma, it was really good. It was really good.
I had 8 free hours today at work. Should have probably could have listened to it there, I guess.
It was great. He mentions obviously the picture he tweeted out when he committed was actually from 2020. He was on a baseball trip.
Yeah, it says
trying to play. A lot of people I guess didn't see that because some people were saying trying to see I was there when we were there and stuff, I guess. But it was from a baseball trip he took in 2020 with his dad. And I can't remember where the exact order of what happened, but apparently, I think Central Arkansas was one of his only offers out of high school from Little Elm, Texas, and he ends up at Washington State. But obviously, talked about becoming Oklahoma's quarterback. Ben Arbuckle being here was obviously a big part of that, and him talking about still trying to get an understanding and appreciate what it means to be at Oklahoma. He said it still hadn't sunk in. He loved Baker, loved Kyler, and he said the chance to think that I'm going to play the same position for the same college as them is something that he's still it's still kind of setting in for him, and he's getting to campus. I think he said the 9th or the 10th, and then he'll get to work. But right now he's just taking a break. He is a big golfer, loves golf, which means he's okay in my book already. So that's going to be exciting to see, and I'm hoping that we can see a couple things from him. One is, I think on just a general note, the impact of the signing, I think, is for a specific person. I think is reflective of what you thought the bigger issues were. I think John Mateer is a huge pickup. He's obviously very good. I'm of the mindset, even last year, quarterback wasn't our biggest issue. It was obviously a lot of players not being able to play, but also the lack of production you got from young guys that didn't have the experience or the physicality yet because of their age or because of their just getting on campus late for some positions, not being able to give us production in that sense. I thought, obviously, offensive line having their issues that they had, moving guys everywhere. You saw, injuries can affect games even with Texas and them, even though they looked good even after their backups came in. There was a lot that I thought needed to be fixed that was, even when you get a good quarterback in, now the question is, have you signed enough outside of John Mateer? Have you given him the weapons necessary to become elite, to have another season like he did at Washington State against defenses that are going to be much better than what he faced at Washington State, and bigger and faster and stronger, all three of them. Because a lot of people, as great as Kyler and Baker were, people just forget the amount of weapons they had around them. They had NFL guys everywhere on the field with them. And it makes you look a lot better when you play with that kind of talent.
Especially with their protection.
They had NFL. Caleb Williams had two or three of those offensive linemen. His true freshman year in 2021. Three of them are in the NFL still. We've had all NFL guys surrounding our quarterbacks for decades in Oklahoma, and right now we don't see that yet. Deion Burke's obviously going to be one of those guys. You would think that a Xavier Robinson, a Taylor Tatum, Taylor Tatum especially, if he lives up to what his potential was, reflective of his recruiting ranking, would be one of those guys. And then you see the offensive linemen we have coming up that were freshmen this year, I think obviously have a chance too. But you're getting, when you look, and this talks about the portal as well and the strategy there. What are you getting out of the portal right now? Are you getting any of those splash guys that are going to make a huge difference? Splash. I consider retaining Deion Burks a big portal get, if you will, because that's money that kept him from going to the portal or going to the NFL.
Right. And
so for me, for Mateer, obviously a big signing. He's a guy that brings a lot of experience. I love his mindset. That guy kind of, and funny, the similarities are there for the Baker Mayfield comparison, which I don't like to make because that's an unfair standard right now.
I don't like it either. Like I get what people are saying. Like I really do. Like I understand. Like they talk about like the swagger, the the tenacity, the like shiftiness, the look. Am I allowed to say that? But
he looks like him.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of. But I just think you're setting him up to not meet those expectations. Like a Heisman expectations. I mean, obviously, I hope he lives up to them. But to me, it's just, I think it's unfair. It's the same people are constantly being like, oh, we need another Jalen, we need another Kyler, we need another Creed Humphrey. I'm like, do you realize that level that you're literally like the 1% of athlete, less than 1% of athlete that you're trying to get these kids to be like, they don't even necessarily need to be that. No. I love it. I would love it if they need to be that, but that's not even like what we actually quote unquote need, as you would say, to be successful. Because not everybody on the field is going to play in the NFL. Most of them actually are not. Right. So we don't. While I would love for every single player that we have step on the field at OU to be in the NFL, that's just not the reality anywhere. Yeah. So I always hate that I keep seeing people saying this is what we need. Well, yeah, anybody would love to have Heisman runner-ups and Heisman candidates and like the best center in the league. Like you would love to have that, of course, but like in reality, it's just not. In reality, it's not reality. And you're just setting yourself up to continue to be upset. Yeah, for everything.
You are, and I'm excited to have him. I'm excited to see what he brings. I think that it is obviously the talent is there. He has you don't just luck into that kind of production and that kind of success no matter where you're playing. You still got to make the throws. You still got to make the decisions. What really the biggest benefit of him coming back or coming to Oklahoma is it's similar to when Dylan came with Levy. It's familiarity with the system and the fact that now instead of Arbuckle having to spend extra time with the Hawkins or with another receiver or with, other guys on the offensive side outside of just scheme, Mateer's able to kind of be a secondary coach because he's played in the scheme before. He knows the terminology. He's able to be there on those periods in the offseason when coaches aren't allowed to be in contact with players. Absolutely. You can have a guy like Mateer going through practice and being able to talk to them and give terminology and say, hey, we're going to call it this way. Let's run 20 plays. Doing that, and that's going to give you months of preparation that you otherwise would not get if you didn't have a guy as familiar with Mateer. The other thing is that when you have a legitimate baller at quarterback, if you will, it makes your teammates just carry themselves differently. Like
Right.
when you have confidence in your guy being there,
Right.
you walk around differently. Because you know you have someone that has the knockout punch, that you have someone that can go win you a game if not everything is going well. And
Who has
that
a
is
killer instinct.
exactly. And
Seemingly.
And Hawkins I'm not saying he doesn't have that, but for Hawkins, I just think where he's able to spend another year developing, similar to what Arch has been able to do at Texas, like we've talked about, is invaluable for him because he's not like he has all the athleticism you need to be good and be great even. And for him it's free reps. He doesn't have to worry about coming in and having to have it all down pat by fall. He can be learning and just be getting more comfortable, more familiar with the system all next year.
Or just being thrown in like he was this past year.
Right. Yeah. And that was just a ridiculous position that he was put in. And I still appreciate and respect him for going out there
Right.
and just try. I mean, that's
His
brutal,
comment
but-
alone was pretty inspiring.
Yeah.
Just by saying like, no, I embrace competition. I enjoy competition. I want to be the quarterback at Oklahoma. That is my goal. Like
Right.
that's just, I don't know. I love that. I love that he could easily go somewhere else. He could have gone transferred. He could have he could have gone to the transfer portal and easily got a starting spot
Right.
somewhere else. But he's choosing to embrace the competition, and to me, that is just respect all the way around. But dang, you said something about John Mateer I was gonna add on to, and then my brain said, so.
About the benefit of him knowing the system, knowing it'll come back. It'll come
It's
back.
gone.
Well, it'll come back. We'll move on. But I want to talk about for a second the portal and everyone's just reaction to every player that we get because apparently
Oh, that's it.
There it is. It was
Thank
done.
you.
Go ahead.
You said his offer was where at a high school?
I think Central Arkansas.
Central Arkansas.
It was one of the Arkansas schools.
Oh, so it was a small school. Okay, so good players can only have small school offers.
Yeah.
Okay,
Apparently,
just curious.
I understand people wanting to. I get how people will make the assumption that, or make the connection that if Oklahoma is only getting players from the non-power fours or wherever, that is somehow a reflection of people wanting to be here. Well, first off, there is a reality where we are coming off a year like we had, and it makes it that much more difficult to recruit and to get pitch guys to come play for you. So yeah, there is some of that for sure. Second off, there is money that was spent on the defensive side of the ball that they just weren't prepared to spend. I know that almost for a fact. There was players that came in that asked for more money than they even thought.
Substantially more.
Yeah, substantially more than they thought they
Which
would
we
have to
talked
worry about.
These aren't 1% to 2% raises they were
No.
asking for, like us plebs get every year.
These are guys going from $300K to $1 million on our defensive line, and a couple of them. And I'm not saying not warranted because of what the market was asking for them. It was a lot of money that was being offered. By the way, they weren't in
Which
the
is
portal yet.
tampering,
Yeah, weren't in the
but-
portal yet. They already been offered by several schools. One of them just had a mollywhopping of Tennessee. Tennessee, we'll get to you in a minute. The only 10 I saw was the amount of points you put on the board against
What's his wife when he
Ohio
looked over
State's
from the TV?
Ohio State's first team defense. It's.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't. What
You
did you
said the
say?
only 10 I saw. I said, was your wife when you looked away from the TV?
Yeah. No, it was pathetic. But I don't know if it's just because it's an easy take that you will hear people say why can't we lost against this guy? Well, second off, I saw a lot of people mad about the Idaho State DN choosing Ohio State over us. I guess you shouldn't be mad because you don't think good players come from FCS schools or non-power 4. So I don't know why anyone was talking crap or upset that we lost him. Second off, you need to go tell Jared Verse to give his NFL contract back and his 19th overall pick because he came from Albany before he was at Florida State and a first-team All-American. Mark Bradley came from Arkansas Pine Bluff, one of the best receivers that OU's had.
Hollywood Brown.
Hollywood Brown, what was it, College of the Canyons? I don't know. I mean,
Baker was a walk-on.
it baffles me that is consistently said about every signing we have. Not only that, it's tweeted out as if these guys don't have Twitter, as if they don't actually look at things that are said about them after they sign at a place like Oklahoma. So, not only are you saying something that just in terms of an argument doesn't make sense or doesn't hold water, it just doesn't hold water. It just also is not it's not a great tack to take whenever you are going to consider, whenever you tweet out and you're like talking bad about our own recruits. and our own signees.
My biggest issue is, as someone like, and I mean, we were both recruited for sports in college. There's only so many scholarships that are given out a year. You can have Division I talent and just not get the looks. Like either you don't go to those camps, can't afford the camps. You aren't playing, on an elite team. You're playing maybe at a small school instead of like a Carl Albert. So there are times you just don't even, you have talent, but you just don't get the opportunity. Because it is so rare to actually get D1 scholarships or, well, you get what I'm saying? Like how high level D1 scholarships. Some people don't qualify out of high school to go to a Division I school. And they have to go to lower schools based on grades or ACTs, if that's even still really a thing anymore. But it's just, I just, regardless of where anybody comes from, I'm going to say welcome to OU, welcome to Norman. I want them to be successful. The first words out of my mouth aren't going to be, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
Also, like, why? And like you mentioned, a lot of OU fans are like, oh, we're not signing anybody. Oh, we're losing to other schools. And then all of a sudden it's, oh, well, now we just got this guy. Well, if we had lost that guy to, like you mentioned, an Ohio State, it's, oh, now we're losing again. And to me, it's a lot of men saying this. A lot of men like to say what they do is never good enough for their wife. No matter what they do is never good enough. Like around the house with the kids, whatever. Oh, these men need to look in the mirror because whatever their favorite football team does, like OU, is never good enough. So, pot calling the kettle black there. And that's just what it reminds me of, because the people that were complaining about not getting players, getting outbidded for players or whatever, are now the same guys being upset of who we get. And it just blows my mind. Like, it's the holiday season. If it's making you that angry, go make a gingerbread house. Well,
like I just saw a tweet that said about Mensa from Tulane's going to Duke for $8 million over 2 years, and someone said that we can't. How is Duke can spend $8 million? How come OU can't? Well, first off, we did. We just got John Mateer. Second off, that number is including the revenue share, which is going to be up to $23 million per team for next year, according to the House settlement. That's going to get, I think, certified in April of this coming spring. And I just don't know why there is such a, I don't want to say pessimistic, but a negative view of every move Oklahoma makes. And there's just there seems to be a lack of just people trusting
happiness.
Or at the end of the day, what I guess my biggest thing is, look, they know that their jobs are on the line. So if these are the guys they think they can get, and relative to the amount of money they're willing to spend for a better player, then fine. Then if they're wrong, it's going to be bad for. They're going to be wrong. Then they're not going to be there next year. But Venables will be gone. All of them will be gone. Arbuckle might be your head coach because he's young
People
and he can
are
recruit.
Also
but
acting like there's just a bunch of Ryan Williams in the portal.
Yeah,
it's like they'd prefer a guy who hasn't played but 2 snaps in a Power 4 conference over a guy that's playing on the field and like producing on the field or showing that they have abilities and getting better. So that's what I don't understand either. Why would you want to take a guy who hasn't played it down just because he came from wherever?
Right.
And over someone that you're like, oh, this guy has shown he can block. This guy looks like he has shown that he can run a play correctly or figure out where he needs to go. This guy has shown that he can catch a pass. Like, I don't care what level you're doing it at necessarily. You're still showing execution. And so I just...
No, you're right.
I don't know.
We missed this question by Hayden earlier, by the way, when we were talking about Mateer. Do we think he'll be the leading rusher like it was at Wazoo next season? I don't think so, just because you don't want to run your quarterback like that, and that I think in a conference like the SEC. And plus, we got
just hope not, because we have Tatum, Samuel.
No, huh?
Sam
Taylor Tatum.
No, Sam Franklin.
Yeah, I think he's might have transferred.
No, he was on our depth chart.
No, never mind. Yeah, Sam Franklin. I don't know if
he might have
transferred.
Running. No, Caleb Hicks has been the only running back that's hit the portal.
Mecca, I can't say his last name, Mbeke or whatever.
Okay, well, only running back that has played it down.
Yeah, that's true. So, I don't know. A lot of what Mateer's yards came from are similar to. Really, they use him like Kyler. Honestly, most of it was just either pass plays where no one was open and he ran. He obviously had some design QB runs, and that'll still be a staple in their offense. But it's not like he was sitting there just running the ball like a Milrow does, where there are several designed quarterback runs.
That's how Navy is, by the way.
Yeah, and
I already mentioned that.
And is he better than Jackson Arnold? I think he'll certainly have a more clear head than Jackson did. Again, I'm one of those who I just don't think. I think Jackson was dealt the worst hand of cards that any OU quarterback in history has been dealt. And I say that obviously since 1992 when I was born, that I've ever seen been dealt. And not that he played those cards well. He obviously made some bad decisions that weren't a result of what was around him. But for him, it just got, I think, to where it was just so good for him to move out. Right. It got to where he was just mentally, I think, ready to leave and have a fresh start, which is fair. I mean, we do that in work and in our jobs too, when we're ready to just have a new place to work. So
right.
I get it, and I, wish him the best. But for Mateer, I'm just
sorry, our dog's crying.
I just I think that there are ways in which you can see him getting close to the yards he had last year. But again, a lot of that just depends on what is stopped in terms of how much extra yards does he get whenever he's playing against teams that are much more athletic and whatnot. But I just want to mention that we had a question about the tight end room too, which is obviously a big need for us right now. And I'm trying to bring it up because I don't want to ignore questions that were sent to us. But there are. What about the tight end room? Or have y'all? No, we haven't. So we're about to. Listen. The tight end room is obviously an issue for Oklahoma right now. It's an issue, quote unquote. It's what most people will say is our biggest need. I would probably agree. I could
even say a big question mark.
Yeah, you just don't know what's there yet. And there were obviously a couple tight ends that I wish we would have gotten. Koziel and Johnson. They went to different schools. A lot of that is just there is a belief that what we have right now in the tight end room is going to mature or develop or be available next year in a way that is sufficient to give you good production at that position. And it's enough production that it doesn't warrant you going out and spending $800,000, $600,000 on a tight end. Whenever you have a 5-star former number 1 tight end in the country in Mitchell, and you got a really athletic dude like Hayden Helms that just hopefully is finally over the injury bug and can give us some snaps. I know he's listed to play in the bowl game on Friday. When you're getting that, especially when you have that kind of talent already on the roster, I think a couple of these tight ends are looking and saying, well, if I go in and this guy is legitimately what he was recruited or projected to be, do I risk not getting any playing time if Donovan Mitchell is that good? Now, he should be a true freshman this coming year. He's only going to be 18. He left a year early from high school. So is there a risk that he is still physically behind? Maybe. But the guy's almost a D tackle. He weighs 289?
No.
I mean, goodness.
No, that's what that thing listed him at. But he does not weigh that. They had it was a typo. I've been telling you that for 2 weeks.
It came out last week. It came out Monday.
Okay, not really. Okay, it was a hyperbole. I'm just saying.
She has not said that to me once, by the way.
Yes, I did, because remember I told you he responded with.
He
responded like a curse word. No.
I have no.
LMAO.
I think he might have.
He doesn't listen to me.
No, I think she said it to her friends, and she didn't say it.
I have no friends that care about that. I live with.
I'm just telling you. You might have sent it to our group chat. I didn't see it.
I could tell you exactly where you were sitting within our living room when I told you that.
Okay, was I doing something else?
You probably had your AirPod in because you have an affair with those things.
I was probably reading a book about philosophy
he had his AirPods
or economics.
And was probably listening about black holes on YouTube.
Black holes are interesting. What's interesting about black holes is, so the Earth has escape velocity. You have to go start X amount of speed to beat Earth's gravity. Black holes, even the speed of light, isn't fast enough for their escape velocity. The singular. I mean, it's
not that
interesting
Tyson
stuff.
Guy.
It's Newton. We don't know. I never had a test against him.
This is not the voice of black holes.
It is interesting. Anyways, talk about a black hole. Tennessee's offense and defense against Ohio State.
Okay.
It was embarrassing.
Can you finish talking about tight ends though?
Yeah. Tennessee, TN, Tennessee. T's got me on there.
We recruited the one, which was the biggest meltdown on
Yep.
Twitter. But my thing is, I think I feel like he was not recruited necessarily for catching as he was just blocking.
Mhm.
Because we struggled with a tight end that blocked. Well, we struggled at tight end, period, but like especially blocking. Sorry. I feel like several times this season I was like, dude, there's your block. Sorry, I keep
You can't
yelling
yell
into
in the
this,
mic like that.
apparently. I forget that I'm not just talking
You're good.
to Chad. But like I feel like there was times like all seasons like, no, you get your block. Like, why did you miss it? Like, granted, I'm not a part of the play. He might not have missed his block. Maybe I don't know. Maybe the guy went a different way. Maybe there was a different assignment, and I don't know. But it seemed like, from just a lay person, there were so many times I was saying, block, get that guy. Like, why did you just go like, get him, block him? And so I feel like that's why this kid was recruited, was for blocking, because we already have wide receivers who can catch. Not wide receivers, tight ends who showed like the hands aspect. So I don't know though.
Well,
6'4", 245 seems pretty big to me, with the potential to get.
yeah, it was how
bigger.
big Bauer Sharp was.
Yeah.
I will say this too: the Bauer Sharp hate, I get it, but I will listen. He played every game for us, so get mad at him if you want, but
At least he was available.
at least he actually played. And
he's at LSU. So
yeah, there's a chance LSU might. They're just taking our tight end and Nick Anderson as well. But I am. I'm not. I guess I'm just not panicked at all about our. I truly think that I like the guy we got from Pine Bluff. I think he has legit athleticism at his size. Yeah, Giovanni Barnes, I believe. But
Gibson.
Gibson.
Yeah,
Gibson.
J.D. Gibson asked if he could put his full name. There's Isaiah Sategna.
Yeah, from
Giovanni
Arkansas.
Gibson, Derek Simmons, Keontaez Lewis, Luke Blinko.
Blakenko.
That's fun.
Baklinko.
Of course, the punter, John
Thompson.
Mateer, and now Carson Kent. Carson Kent.
There's
Clark Kent.
yeah, related. Hopefully, he plays like Superman next year. There is, I think. They're not done. They're going to definitely try to get some more. I think home runs out of the portal. The Zachariah Branch stuff. They're just not going to. I don't think they're going to really pursue that. They're going to cost. He and his brother are going to cost you $1.5 million to $2 million to bring both of them in. They're just not. That's just not going to do it. We don't have. Texas Tech right now has that guy from Double Eagle Energy just bankrolling. He's a billionaire. He's a young, low 40s age guy and maybe mid 40s, but he's just literally open book checkbook for them. We don't have that. If Harold Ham, I wish we had one. Which was a big time, right? Was a big time OU fan. We don't. So when money is just the deciding factor, obviously that is going to be tough for Oklahoma to just win those battles. But I think that we're also, remember the spring portal when that opens. That's where we got Dominic Williams. We got a Caden Woolard that time last year. There's opportunities that come up when that spring portal opens, and you're also able to see kind of where your needs are, specifically on the defensive line and defensive inside. I think they're going to make a push at that Clemson receiver if that had just entered yesterday. He's a guy that can come in and give you good numbers, and I think is a guy, a talented guy, a talented enough guy that can come in and actually be a big kind of production receiver for us.
Right. There's four playoff teams that technically are probably going to be having kids enter.
Yeah.
The portal. So
absolutely.
We'll see who's out there. You mentioned when money is seems to be the factor, and I think, and again, maybe this is me being dumb, but I don't necessarily want someone who just wants to be at OU for the money. Because that's what, to me, when you start getting the diva mentality of, oh, well, I'm hurt, I don't really want to play, or I'm going to play my 4 games, and then how we saw some players from other schools, like, redshirt out of nowhere, you know, 4 games in. I feel like that's when you start to get those types of mentalities instead of, I'm ready to go show out and ball out, and I wish I didn't even have that thought, honestly. I wish it didn't even cross my mind that, and maybe not saying those guys are like that, and maybe a lot of these guys aren't, but it's hard, to me it's hard to imagine some guys aren't like that when it kind of seems like they only go to the portal because of money.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. I don't know.
And the portal is just, it's just a whole bad thing right now. And there's, with anything that's a huge change, I mean, the first iteration of it is typically not the best or the final iteration.
And
I mean, you can go back
to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, I mean, you can have good intentions and things that you wanted to have done. You go to the Articles of Confederation, our Constitution. The first was, I mean, we had to rewrite that after wanting to make sure that there was not a tyrannical government. They went too far the other way to where you had no power to do anything, and that took until 1787 to actually create what is now our Constitution.
Okay, Jeffrey.
So it's just there are. It's not unnormal to have kind of chaos the first few years of something that is a dramatic change in the norm,
right?
And then to kind of then come back and in a different process make adjustments to that. I just the something like the Diego Pavia thing that he's granted another year as a JUCO player. I think that's idiotic. I think that's astronomically stupid. And if that's not clear enough, I think it's what they don't what a lot of people don't see it's like socialism. The good intentions just are just make people just forget about the implications of that idea. But I don't know, we can use some other form. But there are you can say, look, we want players to have an opportunity to make money. We want players to be able to monetize on their name or to monetize their name, image, and likeness. Fair enough. Junior college players made the decision because they didn't get a Division I scholarship or a scholarship they thought was adequate to bypass the JUCO route. They made that decision to go the junior college route. And because you went there, you then got the opportunity to go Division I if you performed well enough. That was your decision. You could have tried to go the walk-on route, earn a spot, a Jacob Jordan-esque, and then get the NIL. You didn't. And that's not a knock. I mean, the great JUCO players great players come out of JUCO every year. But to then say that you get to now use extra years, that takes scholarships away from high school players. Don't forget about that. The one big thing they don't tell you about the transfer portal, that hurts scholarship players in high school. Because now instead of recruiting a high school kid, offering him a scholarship and an opportunity to succeed, I'm just going to go to the portal and get a kid that's already played in college. Now let's say that they do this JUCO thing and it works for every single JUCO kid in the country. Why would a Division I college ever in the world recruit a high school kid if you can go get a JUCO kid with 2 years of physical development, 2 years of college football experience, and now I can bring him to my school and give him 4 more years? Where's the Division I scholarships going to go for high school kids? They'll be 20, 30 eventually if you could take it to the logical extreme. That'll get scholarships. Because they're going to be the Ryan Williamses, the one that's better than him maybe is the Ohio State guy, and I'm blanking on his name right now, but the number 4 kid, he's a true freshman as well. Someone will put it in the comments. I just can't think of it. But these are the things that people just get excited about these decisions as if they aren't going to have some sort of downstream impact. I understand the nature or the thought and the good nature of a lot of people that are just we should do everything that is pro athlete paid more is just inherently going to be good. It's not. There are, I think on average, and I'm almost positive, 17% of kids that go in the portal find another scholarship, find another place. Now, when I say that, a lot of y'all are thinking there's no way because you're only thinking about Division I football players. Do you know how many kids from FCS and JUCO and Division II go to the portal and don't find another home because they just don't have they just simply either aren't good enough or they haven't done a good or they don't know the way in which to promote and market themselves.
In a way, by entering the portal, you burn the bridge with your previous school.
100%. And now you now you miss out on.
And here's the thing: we're saying that both as former junior college athletes.
JUCO's great.
We love JUCO. That was our choice, and so we're saying that as people who did make that choice. So it's not just coming from thin air. But no, I saw that ruling and I was very upset too. Because here's the thing, there's nothing stopping you, in a way, from getting NIL and JUCO. You're not going to get a lot. You're probably going to get more from a commercial, local billboard type money thing. But at the end of the day, life isn't fair. Mm-hmm. You didn't get a D1 scholarship. You didn't qualify to high school if you didn't make the grades. You should have been in the classroom, I guess. And then you just didn't get it. Mm-hmm. So make the most of the opportunity you do get once you get it. And you know what? If you are good enough, you get to go play in the NFL. If not, you get to get a job like the rest of us. So I hope you focus on getting your degree and get a good degree that you can use to better your life and the life of generations after you. So
100%. What's always bothered me, and I've said this to you a million times, is this idea that student athletes got nothing out of what the former regime, if you will, the former way it was.
I got a lot.
It sounds like you got an $80,000 a year scholarship. You got stipends every month. You got free food. You got a workout boutique, a workout and a gym that was specific for your sport. You got to do all the networking, all of the name notoriety that came with that. If you don't think that saying you played on the Oklahoma football team isn't valuable for business 40, 20, 30 years down the road, I don't know. Then you just don't know. I don't know if business wise they aren't involved in that or what. But that is one of the most valuable things you can have, especially in today's world when you can make a podcast saying I'm a former Oklahoma football player. Let me break down some games. Let me go on. Let me try to do my own sports podcast. Do whatever you want to do to market yourself. There's value in just being on the team, no matter where you're at.
There's still former OU players selling their autographs and appearances, which is great. No, we're not saying anything as bad. It's just, as people who benefited from scholarships, Chad did go to OU for golf, but from scholarships from much smaller schools in my case, I am so thankful for those.
Oh, yeah.
But I was also told that was a blessing, and I didn't go to a school as expensive, but I don't have to take on that debt. I was able to save what money I did earn to go to graduate school, to set myself up for better. And also, again, I am a female athlete, so there's not a ton of opportunities professionally to make a lot of money, but it's just, there was never nothing out of it. And
right.
College educations are not to be frowned upon.
No, I think that's why I just get so frustrated. If I could go back and be a kid again and give myself, I would read a whole lot more. It's a wild thing. It's like one of those things where people say, if I could ask Jeff Bezos how to be a successful entrepreneur, I wish I could just have 5 minutes with him so I could get information. There are actual things that he's done in terms of, he's actually put thoughts on paper and then binded it together and sold it to you, where it'll literally ship to your house. They're called books. They are an amazing, and granted, I wasn't a voracious reader when I was young. Tierani was a crazy reader. She read all the time. But I wasn't. But I hate that I wasn't, because literally, the amount of just knowledge you gain from just reading a book, the mental process you go through of actually trying to see where it's going to go, is invaluable. And for me, it's turning from that. It's turning from a thing where college players used to be able to network, get a foundation, get a alumni group behind them, get their name known, to now they're just mercenaries for the highest bidder. And apparently that's better for them. Apparently it's better for agents just to message people, as John Gruden pointed out. Agents not even associated with the player. A random agent, me reaching out to a random kid and saying, "Hey kid, I asked this guy if he'll give you $400,000. I don't know me, but I promise you, I'm good with that. If you promise to get in the portal and come to this, you'll get the $400,000." And then you see what happened to the Florida linebacker, where he got 50% or whatever it was of his salary for the next X amount of seasons.
I would like to know too, some of these guys that are on their third school in 3 years, their fourth school in 4 years, where are they with their degree? Because odds are they're not going to the NFL. To me, if you're going to that many schools, you're either not the guy looking to be the guy, so clearly you're not that 1%, half of a percent, whatever it is, or you're just not going to be developing. Where are they at in their degrees? I truly hope that they're far enough along that they get a degree that can help better their futures. But it just makes me wonder, because again, when I went to different schools. JUCO, went to D2, switched to another D2, because I just decided to focus on my degree because my other D2 didn't have it. That's not because I was trying to search around being the guy, but or the girl, whatever. But there's credits that don't transfer.
Yeah,
that happens. There's credits that you don't get credit for, and so it makes me wonder. And we're gonna have to be fixed. We're definitely the train derailed here. But
people are going to think literally, I could not care less about a kid getting money and getting all this. I really couldn't. What I care about is the kid actually being set up for success in his future. And that does not come, there is a benefit of fighting through adversity and saying, hey, I may not be the starter right now. And I could go to another school and take the easy route and get a guaranteed position. Or I could stay here, and although I may not be the best, I could work extra hard, go through the struggle, have coach get on to me a little more, see that I'm not the best, that I'm beat a lot, and improve myself. Especially when you're a young man, instead of saying, well, I'm not starting, let me enter the portal, I'm going to go to this team now. Like the report of The Alabama offensive lineman from the 2010 year or 2009 year when they won it, he was talking on a show, and he said that there are teams having to pay practice squad players so they don't enter the portal, so they have enough players to practice.
And you're going to go out and, well, not Alabama, but some of these people, you're hearing that, like your Georgias. Mm-hmm. You're out there, your team has a chance to win a national championship. Like, that's what blows my mind.
Well, I think again, what is it? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. I mean, it's there when this is really going to hit the pike, and I think a lot of people are going to get extremely angry at what is going on. Is whenever you realize that when money is the end all be all, that's what it is in the NFL. When money rules everything, then only thing that makes sense, like the phrase is what makes sense. So I mean, there's a chance you could be down to men's basketball, men's football, maybe not even softball. I'm sorry, because it doesn't make money. And I know a lot of people are going crazy. It doesn't make money. It is a net negative. $49 million last year in ticket sales. 89% were from football. Another 5% were from men's basketball. And then 3% were from softball. So that might keep, but it still was a negative.
And we're not dissing on it. That's what we're saying. Like a sport that we all love at Oklahoma, that we support.
Love it. It's the best.
Just could be gone. And same with women's gymnastics.
Wrestling. I mean, men's wrestling, golf. I mean, a lot of those sports they're just not revenue generating sports. So when that is all, so what you're going to end up having done is this. What you're going to have done is this. They're going to eventually have the SEC is going to probably partner up with the Big Ten, with the ACC, and they're going to make a super conference because they want to be able to do the revenue share thing. They're going to have to probably make the players employees. They're going to have to do the antitrust exemptions. And then you're going to do literally an NFL model. You're going to have them split up and put in their own divisions. So now the regular season is less important because now you just have to win your division to get in the playoff.
Right.
Which a lot of people complain about the playoff situation. The only fix they have is to, if they're going to keep it at the same iteration and not make changes, is to expand it to like 60 teams. You know why? Because you'll be able to spread out the matches where you get beat by 40. Now the blowouts will still happen. I mean, no one would have expected Tennessee to get blown out like that. My gosh. But the only way they're going to make sure that the teams that have a legitimate chance to win the championship are spread out, such that they can actually meet in the later rounds and not play each other in the first round, like Ohio State, Tennessee, or in the literal first game that Oregon. Congratulations, you went undefeated and were the number one ranked team. Now you get Ohio State. Texas, of course, gets a milk dud in Arizona State. I cannot stand people thinking this is going to be a game. It won't. Penn State gets Boise. That won't be a game either. And you get games like that. The only way you make sure that games like that happen in the earlier rounds and not in monumental games that are going to put Texas in the semis in Dallas. The University of Texas will play in Dallas for the semifinal game. Oklahoma would be playing 2019 LSU reincarnated in New Orleans.
Oklahoma was going to play Alabama in Dallas, to which Alabama threw a fit. And it got reseeded, so that didn't happen. But
we
digress. Honestly, this just brings us. Let's calm from.
I'm not done yet. I have a few more points. I'm not close to being done yet.
Talk about the actual playoff games.
we need to do that too. I'll just sum it up with this. The last thing.
We'll give the off season to.
And there'll be a lot more. Yeah, there'll be some. Anger, I'll end it with that. We can go to the playoff game because if I don't, I'll keep ranting on it. But I'm just not. It is just, I guess, the height of irony to me that the very thing that people are saying should be done in terms of revenue going to the sports that generate it or the players will be the first ones, I believe, to sit there and cry foul whenever the non-revenue sports are cut. Because let me tell you something right now. Much as I love baseball and women's basketball and women's sports, they ain't generating revenue. So whenever they do the revenue share, because Title IX likely won't apply to that when it comes to just strictly revenue, because it's not necessarily educational related, and then the men's basketball team and the football team are getting 90% of the revenue generated, and then again, it is something that is going to be an annoyance for a lot of people. And I'm just saying, prepare for that. And I also don't think you're setting up kids to be successful whenever you tell them, hey, if it's tough right now, like Mr. Dilligaff said, Dilligaff. Instant gratification. A lot of them are just getting exploited for their own family needs or a meal ticket for agent. Yep. Exactly. And
I hate it because it's not the job of the child to take care of the parents.
No.
As a child or as a young adult. And I'm saying this as somebody who, if my family needed me to care for them in their old age and things like that, that's different than, I don't know.
Well, but it's like, what is the first thing they say about if you win the lottery? don't tell family. Hire an attorney, someone to set up your estate, and then don't tell family. These kids won the genetic lottery that they are athletic enough to warrant this kind of money.
They won the lottery of the era that they're in to get this kind of money.
Yes, all of it's
in college.
100%. All of that is winning the lottery, if you will, and what's happening? They're being exploited for the very same thing.
Yeah,
the money that they can generate. It's just money.
Parents coming in saying, "Give my kids more, or we're leaving."
Which literally happened at Oklahoma
That's what I don't get. Because as a kid, if I liked where I was at, I'd be like, "No, dad, no, mom, I'm not doing that." But but also I say that. How do you say that to your parent?
It would be it would be tough.
It
would be tough.
I don't want to leave. I like it here. But that's neither here nor there. College football playoff.
Yeah. End of the day, we both want the best for kids in the future and for their long-term success,
Right.
not just to be,
And again,
easy
we're
money
not saying
for
you
these
shouldn't
agents and stuff. Yeah.
earn money because you sold your autograph or for making appearance, for doing commercials. 100%. What NIL was for, what it was intended for, we are all for. Mm-hmm. And also, again, as a female athlete, these female athletes that are getting, that influencer stuff and doing the commercials and the beauty brands and the modeling, that is...
Was McKenzie and Billy Bowman and all them have, and Jada Coleman and future Kenzie McKenzie, they have that Schwab NIL deal they do. And so it's great. It's entertaining.
I think everybody and their dog would agree that is a good thing.
Awesome.
That should be allowed.
Yeah,
perfect. It's just the pay-to-play, free agency every year, give us more, we're leaving, tampering, all of that jazz that I think everybody, that's a fandom everywhere, is just already tired of. And unfortunately, I think it has to get worse before it has to get better.
Yeah, you're right.
And then it's probably going to get back to the government, who's going to find a way to mess it up.
Yeah, they'll mess it up.
Even worse. And then maybe 10 years from now, we can look back and be like, wow, what a wild time that was.
It will, and it'll get fixed. But.
But anyways, let's go on to the college football playoff or the college football games that were played.
That was well done.
Because Lord have mercy, so we expected it from SMU and Penn State. I would say I expected it from Clemson and Texas. I feel like I actually kind of expected it all the way around, with the exception of I really did think Tennessee and Ohio State would be a lot closer. But man, was Chad wrong. I was not. I picked Ohio State. Just throwing that out there.
See, and if you watched the episode last year, I was going to be gracious. I didn't have anything planned.
I was just saying.
I had not looked online for a sign that I could pull down and just show everybody. I don't know where you would get those.
Looked for a sign that he could pull down in the event that he was right.
I would never. I would never do that. It would be.
He would. He actually sets up our room beforehand. He would have found a spot to somehow have it just in the background. He'd have a Chad zone over I don't know. He would have done something, but not the point.
So Clemson, Texas. Quinn Ewers to me is just such a dud.
Dang.
In terms of when I think of a quarterback that is a national championship lead your team guy, dud's way too strong. I don't literally mean that, but
that's kind of a strong.
He seems like a guy he just makes the layups. He's not a guy who's going to create the shot. I think you need a lot of. It's just.
I agree.
So I just still I don't know.
But also, if that's all you need.
I just don't know how good. And again, they're going to luck out because even if they play Georgia, Carson Beck's out for the year. He just had surgery he'll be throwing again by spring.
Underwhelming, in my opinion.
Yeah, talk about a fall off too. He's supposed to be the number one pick coming into this year or number one quarterback off the board at least. And now I don't know where he is, but especially after the injury. That Clemson, I knew that they struggled on the defensive side of the ball, but 292 yards being run on you is. At some point, check.
They couldn't stop traffic.
No, they couldn't stop. I don't even know the right joke to make because it's so flabbergasting.
They got within one score, then they just let a guy go for
91, 80 yards right off the bat. Hey, how about you don't do that, guys?
That was wild.
And then so you have Texas doing that, and again Quinn doing the layup stuff. You see all the memes about they won a playoff game before Oklahoma, blah, blah, whatever.
I don't understand why your first thought when you win a playoff game is Oklahoma or A&M. But I digress.
Well, you're always going to compare yourself to your parents or your elders, so I get that.
TCU won it before all of us, so
yeah, they did.
There we
Yeah,
go.
they do. So yeah, and then you look at what Texas will play. So they'll play Arizona State next. They'll mop them. There won't be a close game. It won't be competitive.
We
Please
hope we're
clip
wrong.
this. Put it everywhere. It will not be competitive. Then they'll get Georgia, likely.
No, Ohio State or Oregon,
Yeah. They'll get Ohio State or Oregon.
which is bull
And-
that they have to play. It is absolute
Yeah.
baloney
Yeah.
that that Ohio State and Oregon have to play.
Yeah. I mean, so they'll get, but they'll play them in Dallas.
Yeah.
Which last I checked, Dallas is in Texas. And the University of Texas is Texas.
Yeah.
Right?
They'd be
Okay.
playing in their
I'm just wondering if they would put, I don't know, what's that field
If they
that's
would
off the
move
highway
it.
in Moore? Would they ever let Oklahoma play a playoff game there? Best field in the country. It's just unbelievable. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's just, some teams, when it's just it's supposed to be their year. I mean, it literally goes to their, but then you got Tennessee, we're going to save Tennessee for the last, because we got Indiana, Notre Dame. Indiana, Kirk Cignetti, whatever your name is, lay off the Sigs, maybe, because
that was bad.
what are y'all doing? It was 27. I'm at a holiday party meeting a great coach, by the way. If you ever sees this, Jared. What was the last name? Do you remember? Jared. Sorry, I don't remember your last
Sarah's
name.
boyfriend.
Yes, awesome coach. We're talking football. I'm looking down and I'm just seeing what seems to be like a team that just doesn't need to be on the field with Notre Dame, and I was hoping that it'd be closer. The score is not reflective of how much of a dominant performance that was for Notre Dame. I still don't think they're a national championship level team, but I don't know a team. Ohio State clearly looked like
They
the best
looked
team to me.
Really good.
But it was such a downer of a. Now I do love the Friday game was cool, like to have that Friday and then the pregame and
Yeah.
Shane Gillis on there is hilarious, and I was really I was hoping for a little bit closer of a game there, but it is what it is, and we'll kind of see.
Yeah. And Penn State and SMU, another game
yeah.
that just wasn't a game. And, people were dogging, of course, on SMU and Indiana. They shouldn't have been in the playoff, yada, yada. I get it. I get where you're coming from. Yada. But, honestly, for a lot of that game, even though Penn State was, killing it, I mean, they were, winning, I was kind of underwhelmed by them as well.
Well,
It's not so much that I was like, wow, Penn State's so good, than just, wow, this SMU quarterback's having an absolute tumbling.
Well,
A crumble. He's just throwing it right to them,
Yeah.
and they're just returning it back. Their offense couldn't score on SMU for the longest time until it seemed like SMU was just, rolling over. I don't know. To me, Penn State wasn't even super, wow, they look so good. It wasn't to me either, but again,
for me, it was. I mean, it was a South Carolina game, but just in different form a little bit.
the 100%.
Because what
They
was
scored
really
their
kind
first
of
game, and their SMU's defense, which I think I tweeted it or X'd it, whatever they call it now. SMU had just given up the first drive to Penn State of the game, but your team's down 21. It's 100%, like the South Carolina game.
And what was frustrating is SMU's defense was offensive line, defensive line. It was pretty even. SMU was competing pretty well with them. And then
It's just your quarterback was just throwing it right to them.
Here are the first few drives for SMU: turnover on downs. Then so SMU forces a punt. Then SMU goes turnover on downs. Then SMU forces another punt.
That they had the first down.
And then SMU goes interception for a touchdown. Then they get a punt. Then they force Penn State over on downs. Then they go another interception for a touchdown. Makes it difficult when your offense is scoring for the other team. Then they have to punt. Then they go Penn State on downs. Then they throw an interception. I mean, that's 3 straight drives where you've just given the ball to the other team and your defense out there. And then, like she's saying, then Penn State goes 9 plays, 75 yards in 3 minutes. Their first drive of the game, they're down 21-0. And then you go into halftime. You get downs again, turnover on downs, and then Penn State scores a touchdown. It's 28-0. And you look up and people are, if you didn't watch didn't watch the first half of the first half, you're thinking, man, SMU's defense is getting gashed. No, they really weren't. It's just hard to play when you get.
Literally giving it to them. It wasn't even like they were making these outstanding plays on the ball. It was just like, oh, here you go, take it. It was
Then you get to
Wild.
I mean, I don't know how to even explain what Tennessee was doing.
Rocky flop.
I know orange is an ugly color and it's distracting. I didn't know it was so ugly as to distract your own players in a playoff game. Tennessee fans were the nicest people ever. I cannot wait to go to Neyland next year. It's going to be awesome. You need to make sure next time you're in a playoff game, though, that your team also travels from Neyland to the playoff site. Because, my gosh, I don't think I've seen... I'm trying to think of it. Like, I haven't seen like a John Jones fight that dominant. I made the joke earlier if you weren't watching. The only 10 I saw in Tennessee was the points they put up on their Ohio State's first team defense. Other than that, it was Will Howard also looks like the second coming of Dan Marino out of nowhere, which is insane.
I really think they took that Michigan loss to heart.
Yeah, they should have. That's a
Which
horrible
is why
loss.
I picked Ohio State, because they looked so horrendous, and they should be embarrassed. That I think they're going to come out with a vengeance to that first team they play, and sure enough.
It was pathetic.
They looked really dang good, though.
By the way, I gave James Pierce Jr. way too much credit. Said he was more athletic than me last weekend.
Okay.
I could, you know what? I could get out there and I could go 0 tackles, 0 sacks, 0 pressures. You don't think I could do 0 of everything? I'm athletic enough to stand there and get ran over.
Chad!
I
This man
I'm
would
sorry.
snap you in half.
Well, first off, he would have to probably catch me, which he has a trouble doing, apparently,
Oh my gosh.
in regards to Ohio. I'm sorry. I
Why?
went out on a limb, and I said that this guy's going to be the difference maker, and I got people in Ohio State who I've never talked to retweeting me and saying, "What do you say now?" As if I care. I couldn't care less who won that game. I don't care about anything but OU. Nothing but the Sooners. And I'm getting tweeted at by people in Ohio. State's over. What did James Pierce Jr., where are you? What were your stats? I'm scrolling. I don't see him anywhere. It's just that just get in the way. You get
Just
it.
get in the way.
That's all you got to do. Hey, find the ball, get in the way. It's an easy
He's good
game.
at that. He's good at getting in the way.
I think I know why I can't. All right, well, never mind. He had 3 tackles, 3 solo. I couldn't do that. But anyway, that's besides the point. That's besides the point. It's besides the point. It's besides the point. I could find somewhere to be productive on that deal. Also, what is shocking to me is the idea. Tennessee's starting running backs hurt and no one knew. Shocking. Not that he makes up the difference and all that, but it is a big deal whenever one of your main horses isn't ready to run.
I guess.
And I mean, it's also hard when you get stomped that bad. It's
Right.
difficult to say it's because of one player was missing.
Right. Also, I didn't say it on our last podcast, but Nico's also been a Jekyll and Hyde type guy to me. I don't know.
I thought
feel
he
like
ran well.
No, for
well,
sure.
yeah.
I just think he was young and not quite there yet to truly lead
It's hard when you can't
in
run
that
the ball.
moment. Yeah, no, I'm
man.
saying, but I'm saying though, it just to me, it's a compounding number of factors. Now, boy, did he get smashed a few times, and
Yeah.
I don't know how he got up. Props to him for continuing to get up, because granted, I'm a girl and I'm 5'3" and like 120 pounds, so I would die if I got tackled. But
Wouldn't go well.
would not go well for my body. So, ouch, my ribs hurt just thinking about that. But like, he got up and he kept trying, but I don't know. I just had a feeling that Ohio State was going to make up for the national embarrassment that they had weeks prior, which they sure did. And I think somebody said it here. Ohio State versus Oregon might be the real natty. And based on how Ohio State played, and also based on how the game went earlier in the year, I would agree.
Yeah.
And at the very least, whoever is in the semifinals at the top of the bracket, I also, in a way, think that could potentially be.
We're going to talk about, just real quick, the next round games and give our picks, and then we'll go to ZENO ZONE and close it up. But
Also, oh wait, no,
Texas,
we're gonna go to ZENO ZONE
Arizona
later.
State. Yeah, we are. Texas, Arizona State. Texas.
Arizona State. Or sorry,
No,
they're gonna
you said
get
Arizona
killed.
State.
No, I meant
No.
Texas. Honestly,
Y'all heard
is
it.
gonna
Y'all
get
heard it.
killed.
Y'all heard it. Y'all heard
You
it.
knew. Stop. If you have to win
didn't
that way,
know.
then fine.
If
If that's the only way that you could beat your wife, then
well,
fine.
that's
Whoa,
a loaded
whoa.
phrase.
That's the only way that you could pick better than me.
I can never pick better than you. That's a good line
You know
by
exactly
me.
what I meant. Do not.
You
put
meant Arizona State. That's what you said. I believe.
I was going to say
believe that
Arizona
you
State's going to get beat. And you heard me say Arizona State. No, I didn't pick them.
All right. Well, we'll put an asterisk by this.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. With an asterisk right there, you'll see it. Really picked Arizona. All right. By the way, for those who think the game might be close, Texas now a 14-point favorite. Still not high enough. It'll be 18 or more. Well, let's say that one for last. Notre Dame, Georgia. The next game. And then we'll go Penn State, Boise State. Notre Dame, Georgia.
And just with Carson Beck being out, and Georgia is such a weird team this year. There are times I watch them like, wow, they're good. And there's other times I'm like, wow, they're not.
They're just really average?
They're like super average.
Yeah, almost a good.
Yeah, like they're not a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10. They're like a 7.
Yeah.
Which is like great. I would have loved to have been a 7 this year. That's not a,
I think you're a 10 every year.
Doug.
It's another one. It's 2.
Okay. I am losing my train of thought with you.
I'm gonna go.
But I know, with Carson Beck being out.
Notre Dame not being able to make explosive plays really bothers me.
Right. And also, again, who has Notre Dame played?
No, I mean, yeah, not many great ones. I mean, you lose to Northern Illinois.
It's just the quarterback situation. How's their hurt quarterback? Because he got
Stockton?
hurt. He got his head.
Stockton's golden. He's fine.
The good Georgia one?
Yeah. Listen, it's Georgia. They're not really gonna. He's gonna play. Now, should he? He's gonna play. That's all we know. I'm gonna go.
Hold on.
I'm gonna go Georgia.
Georgia.
I'm gonna go Georgia.
Georgia.
Tierani, Kristen, what are you going?
My name's not Tierani. So there's that.
Tierani, where are you going?
Stop immediately.
It's right here in front of you.
I know. I'm looking back.
You want Freeman to win.
I do. I would love for Marcus Freeman to win. When he smiles, I smile.
All right, Justin Bieber.
You know what? Go Notre Dame.
All right, she's going Indy. The Golden Helmets.
The cuter coach gets my vote in that one.
Saying he looks better than Kirby Smart.
Yup. Show am.
All right, let's go. Penn State, Boise State.
Who do I think?
I would love Genty to do it, but Penn State will win that one.
I agree.
Okay, she's going Penn State. All right, and now finally, let's go Ohio State, Oregon. Let's go.
Because I, in a petty way, had to root for Ohio State the last game just to beat you. I'm going Oregon because.
Oh, you know Oregon's gonna win.
I want Dylan Gabriel to win. Now, I'm still petty from what happened against Oregon years ago, but I like Dylan Gabriel enough that. Sorry, there was a comment there that made me laugh. Brent Venables is cuter than Kirby Smart.
BB's got a chiseled jaw, high cheekbones. You kidding me?
He can run those steps.
Run the steps, dude. Guy cut diamonds with his jawline.
That's true, and
he also sounds like he smoked 14 packs a day with his voice.
Happy dude. Yeah, those vocal nodules probably are tough, but I'm gonna go Oregon.
Yep, I'm going Oregon too. Dylan Gabriel is gonna win.
Also, because I don't know if Ohio State can put together 2 games in a row like that. Now, they'll be going to be hard to beat, should they? But I'm gonna go.
Dylan's such an. If Dylan plays well, I think that they can have a chance to win by more than that, by at least a touchdown. But
we don't agree on everything.
No, you picked.
So Notre Dame's the one.
You picked Arizona State over Texas.
No, I didn't.
Then you picked Notre Dame over Georgia. We do agree on Penn State and Oregon though. But Arizona State, you're gonna look like a genius if that works though. I'm proud of you. That's a bold take. If Scattaboo goes off,
Chad.
All right, I have Texas with an asterisk. I believe that we should listen to women in general and trust and take their words for value.
Chad. I will burn what few little Christmas gifts I got you.
You got me Christmas gifts?
Yeah.
That's nice of you.
One of us loves the other.
We never do Christmas gifts for each other.
We haven't because we haven't had any money. Which we still don't.
That's changed?
We do have 2 working people in the house now.
All right. ZENO ZONE. All right, but for though, T and I both have Texas.
We agree on everything except for I'm choosing Marcus Freeman over Kirby Smart just because.
All right. ZENO ZONE. Give us the update. How did the pup do? Needed improvement.
Gets a smiley face for this past week because he went from 6-12 to 10-13. He went 4-1.
Wow.
The only one he missed was he did pick Indiana. So That was a tough loss. But
Embarrassing.
he and I both chose Ohio State, unlike some people. So
Second time she's brought it up.
don't worry if he beats me this next. Whoa, wait. If he picks better than me, we are a very healthy household. Please don't think that.
Now it sounds loaded. Now it sounds like you're scared.
That's what I meant.
Blink twice, T. Say beats. Obviously, I know what you mean.
but,
I beat her this week. Yeah.
Then he's gonna do the same thing. He will find a pull down sign and like he'll make it. He'll find a way. But he did go 4-1, so he did a little. That was his best week so far, so he did great.
And with the good year or good week last week, not year. Sorry about that. We have his bowl picks for this week to come up. So let's do that. He didn't pick Oklahoma?
No.
Well, listen.
To be fair, he didn't choose us against Alabama either.
Well,
and then he did choose us against LSU. So maybe OU has something against my dog too.
And listen, this household cares about a lot of things. End of the day, most important are dubs. So if he thinks Navy's going to beat Oklahoma and it gets him a dub, then
If it improves his record.
If it improves his record, it improves his record. It's on Oklahoma to not lose the game now. Wow. What a pick by Zeno.
Oklahoma football, it's your job to prove a pocket beagle wrong.
That just happened.
Yeah.
TG and Oregon about you. Yeah, same. We're going to go through. I don't think we missed any comments necessarily. Randy, wanted to say.
Somebody did say I was always right, so throw that one up there. Just to remind you.
I think that one got deleted. That's crazy. I'll scroll down in a second. Randy, good to see you, man. One of the best, by the way, on spaces and just knowledge of football in general. Y'all surprised we lost out on Jaron Bradley again. Yeah, he and who was it earlier? I think someone on the radio, I think Thune or maybe on the radio said it's like a David Hicks type thing where Bradley just never ends up in Oklahoma or at Oklahoma, even though he's rumored to be. From what I had heard, there was obviously a money issue. They didn't want to pay him what he got from where he ended up, and there was also an issue of I don't think that he had the speed when they got him in person that they thought he would, and there was an issue with separation that they didn't think warranted the kind of money he was asking for. So I think that's really was the big issue. And again, I think that we don't need to forget that there are, and I don't need to tell Randy this, he knows it better than I do, but there are really talented freshmen on the team that have a chance to develop into really good receivers next year. So we don't need to just write them off as if we don't have guys that are going to be able to produce next year. Now, you don't need to bet all your reward, you don't need to bet the whole house on it, but I think a little bit is maybe we'll see a little bit of that in the bowl game too, the talent that's there and why we may not be spending every dime we have on receivers right now. I think that's a one consideration that we don't need to just overlook sometimes when we see some of these guys are missed. NCAA is appearing. Yeah, they're appealing the ruling of the preliminary injunction, but it is a waiver for Pavia and those in this situation. And I think that it really is going to end up being a issue. And I think that the unintended consequences of that we talked about earlier. Another question for Randy: what % of the play of tight end 10 personnel? One tight end and then no running back. I don't know. I mean, all good offenses utilize the tight end and they utilize it well. If you have a good tight end, it makes it so difficult. My dad always stressed this when they'd play teams, especially when he was in college.
That guy
had
from
good
Texas
tight ends.
is an absolute weapon.
Yeah, Gunnar Helms. beast.
He's a beast. He's
You know,
very good.
And
I will
so,
compliment Texas on that one. That guy's
Yeah.
flipping good. He is a sure thing, essentially. Like,
and it
he's
makes
good.
it's just such a difficult element. So if Donovan Mitchell turns into the athlete next year and the player that we all think he can be, then a ton. I just don't until we know who was there and if Caden Helms is healthy. Man, I hate that he got injured like that because he had such a his film and his build is perfect for what you want at that position, and hopefully he just gets healthy, man, and he can just move and be healthy again. Merry Christmas, Randy, to you all, and to everyone else watching too. But I'm glad OU's playing in December. Same. Mateer was sacked as many times as J.A. and still had 44 tutties. That's great. That's good. I will say it wasn't in the SEC.
I was about to say that.
But so I'm just still a little wary. I just don't
Also,
want to
again, it's not in the top half of the SEC, not
Yeah.
just the SEC and playing the bottom half,
yeah, like other
but
schools that
digress.
are in the playoff.
But playing the top half of the SEC. But
I am, I'm taking shots when we have a chance to take shots. Don't miss them. There is a Dante said hi. What's up, Dante?
hi.
One of the best right there. Great one. And there are thoughts on players transfer. Oh yeah, we talked about this, Kenneth. I am not. Listen, if players can play, they can play. I don't care about the school they came from. I don't care about any of that. I care that the coaches assess them, they watched their film, and they saw a talent on the film that they thought warranted a chance at Oklahoma.
Well, Baker walked on Texas Tech.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of players
And
you can go back
his
to.
Division
and-
One offers were small.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
and then he technically walked on to OU.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're always saying we need a Baker, well, guess what? Maybe we do.
Mm-hmm.
You never know.
I'm not. You won't know until next year, and if they don't pan out, then the coaches aren't going to have to really worry about the portal after that season, because if you have another year like this year, a lot of them won't be returning, including Britt Venable. So that is where I'm kind of at with the portal. And I will say I think it's just not good at all whenever the first reaction every time we sign someone is the negative. It's always the negative look at it instead of maybe we got a diamond in the rough somewhere, or one of these players is going to pan out. I think all of them have talent and ability that is a reason why they're here at Oklahoma, and the coach is one of them. So that's where I stand on that. And where
People
I
are
stand on
acting
other
like
people
they
don't.
have like one eye, one arm,
Yeah.
and like a gimpy ankle. Like, just say welcome, good luck.
Yeah.
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 At least let them play first before you're throwing stones. But again, you can't please everybody.
Yeah, the ruling it did this year. Again, they are appealing the ruling, but they're just giving them a waiver for this next year. So there's a chance that it might not be allowed after this coming year. But I think they just don't have time to appeal it. And again, like people want to get mad at the NCAA for no regulations
They
or
have
not
no
knowing,
power.
but they don't, because remember what the issue is right now with regulating anything is they see it as a restraint on ability to earn income, or restraint on ability to utilize or commercialize their name, image, and likeness. So any sort of regulation that the NCAA puts on them is going to be challenged as being one of those, a restraint. And under antitrust, Section 1 or whatever, it basically says you can't have a restraint on business. Now, that has to be within reason. Otherwise, any contract would be a restraint on business. So, I mean, there's a reasonability spectrum within that. But right now, it's just turned into a little bit, too laissez-faire and like the Wild West. So, again, that's what NCAA is just in a tough spot where they if they try anything, it's going to be challenged as a restraint on a ability to utilize your NIL, and going to become an issue down the road for them potentially.
Also, part of what could happen is a lot of these,
Mm-hmm.
even the rich donors, are gonna be like, "No, I'm not doing this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're not winning. We're still not winning championships. We're still not winning games. I'm not doing it." And finally, there's just no money in it. Now, I say no money in it in the sense of NIL, not in the sense people are going to watch college football regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not going anywhere essentially. So like, there's going to be that money, but like the pay to play money.
yeah,
I'm just saying, I don't think long term, regardless of how much money you have, you keep just throwing it out there with no benefit, like large amounts of money.
and a lot of that, and then we can close it up there. But just final thought on that is, a lot of the big time donors donate because they love the university and they like when the football team is good.
Yeah.
They're not. A lot of those guys that become uber wealthy weren't big time athletes. They were typically people that were in the books all the time, that founded
People that
companies,
read and got the
businesses.
degrees and-
Yeah, and the people that became big in the oil industry. They are Oklahoma fans, the University of Oklahoma fans, and they prefer or love when the university's team is good as well. but that's not like the end all be all for their donation. And so another thing that this NIL is doing is it's,
It's causing a rift.
yeah, it's causing a rift in that respect, because you have these donors who love the university, but then they also just see these kids coming in as just not really there for Oklahoma or to benefit Oklahoma, but as to use Oklahoma.
So as much
to
as
get
you
money.
love the university, you're getting annoyed. You're paying somebody to essentially not love it as much as you do,
or to
be loyal
use
to it.
Yeah.
And you got to. I mean, I see us plebs. No offense to everybody on X, but I'm gonna assume most of us aren't multimillionaires. Again, if you are, super chat's open. But but a lot of us plebs are sitting there out there saying, why would we even donate our $5, $10, $40, $50, $100 a month for this same reasons? Now it's just like that, but they're giving a lot more, more, and you get annoyed if you're paying people to love your university and then they're not loyal as you are loyal, and they don't love it as you love it. So
Right.
I think that well's going to have to run. That was going to be hard to say. I think the money well at a lot of these universities is going to have to start running dry, which essentially is affecting these incomes and the pay to play. That's where I think that's when there will be some regulations of sorts,
Right.
or contracts or whatever it will be. I just unfortunately think we're still several years off from that.
Absolutely. All right. Well, everyone, thank you for joining. Christmas, my favorite holiday, is here in a couple days. We're excited for it, and it has been really fun to kind of do these videos and do these like streams the last few weeks. So thank you all for tuning in and giving some time this evening for us. We really appreciate it. We do try to put some effort into it and hopefully make it enjoyable. We're going to get better, continue to get better, but it has been really fun. And to get to spend time with my wife and get to kind of talk about sports, which we both love, has been truly a blessing and something I'm thankful for this year and to improve on going into next year. So what about you?
Ditto.
There you
Just
go.
kidding. No, but really, we have enjoyed it. We've enjoyed talking to you. We've enjoyed talking to each other. Our dog has not enjoyed it because he gets upset that we are not hanging out with him right now. But he has enjoyed ZENO ZONE. When I get his little bowls out, he immediately goes to his little carpet and sits. He's like, all right, I'm ready. Give me my snacks. But we have really enjoyed it. It has been a blessing for us so far. We do try to do a good job. We are flawed. We're not former NFL minds, or we're not insiders, as I will say every time. So we are just fans. So we hope you guys have enjoyed it as much as we have. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas.
Yep.
We will see you before the New Year, so I'm not going to tell you have a good New Year yet, but I will. But have a good Christmas. Is Hanukkah around? If you celebrate Hanukkah, hope you have a good Hanukkah.
Yeah.
All other holidays, hope it's great for you. Hope you spend time with family, friends, and just enjoy the season.
Yep.
And Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Merry Christmas and God bless, and we'll talk to y'all Friday after the Navy game.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you then. Boomer.
Bye.